all new Venom number 5, the C2E2 variant, featuring a stunning Mary Jane negative space cover by John Tyler Christopher that stole the spotlight. The black foil variant of the same issue, also by JTC, brings serious heat with its sleek, limited edition finish. White Rabbit keeps her name in circulation. Hellhook is the brand new character making a big first appearance, and collectors are jumping on it early. These books are all making noise right now. This week's top trending comics for the second week of April 2025. We got a lot of new books, a lot of new editions that just came in over the weekend. And the reason why they came in over the weekend is because there was a little convention called C2E2, which stands for Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. Therefore, the C2E2. That's how they got the name. It is a Read Pop convention. So they're the same convention people that do New York Comic Con, and they do it there. It's one of the bigger shows. I'm going to say it's part of the top 4. Top 2 being New York Comic Con and San Diego Comic Con. Those are the big 2. And then you got MegaCon and C2E2. Dare I say C2E2, I think, is a very close number 3. What's your thoughts on that?
I've never been to Comic-Con in the States, so I would love to go to one. I was kind of hoping to go to Heroes Con, but it just isn't going to work out this year. But I'd love to see one, but I don't know too much about American ones, just that the names are always in the media, and San Diego and C2E2 and Heroes seem to be mentioned a lot.
Yeah. Heroes Con, I want to call it a big show, but it's not in the same. I don't call it a big show in the same way those other 4 are. Those other 4 are more pop culture shows, whereas Heroes Con is more for the comic book person, the comic book enthusiast, as ChatGPT likes to call us. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at a lot of those books, but here you have 4 books. Now, what's really cool about these 4 books is that they're varying covers, some older books here, and some heat. So, as always, what's your thoughts on the 4 you see right now?
Well, I actually went looking for that White Rabbit one. Uh, the comic store didn't have it, of course, because it's already too late for that. But I did find the trade of it for like $5 or $6 at Ollie's, all the issues.
Ooh.
And it looks really good. I flipped through it. I didn't buy it though, but I did flip through it. The Sentry, I was never like, my Sentry knowledge is not what it should be. Like, I've never really been interested in that character. Hellverine, no, I did buy that book, and it was super hard to get almost immediately. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that over the next couple of weeks. And then Mary Jane. I mean, I wish I could get that. I wish I could get that cover. That's a good cover.
It is a good cover, man. So that's how she looks inside a costume.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at our honorable mentions. I put 3 honorable mentions. Reasons being is because each one of them has some significance that are going on. Let's start with that first one, which is Marvel Rivals number 1. This is the C2E2 Trinity Comics Peach Momoka variant. Now, the one that you're currently seeing right now is the version variant. There is also a trade dress variant of it. The book in itself sold really well. It wasn't enough to make the top 10, but it's enough to be an honorable mention. So what's your thoughts on that one?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Rivals thing, we're going to get into it in a little bit, but still hot, and they have a whole other announcement because they're doing the same thing that Fortnite does. So it's released in seasons, and the next season is all of the Hellfire Gala. My kid was actually telling me about it. He told me about some other character that's in it that I didn't know about. So yeah, and then Love Everlasting, don't know much about that. And a third one, I don't even know what that one is.
Yeah, so let's go ahead with Love Everlasting. Love Everlasting is it's kind of an anthology series, but it's not at the same time. But it is a set of stories told by Tom King, that it's an independent book from Image Comics, and it came out several years ago. However, the reason why it's an honorable mention is that it is in the top list for a lot of the for CBSI as well as Key Collector. It just wasn't enough to make it to this list because the reality of it is the sales are low,
Yeah.
but it was enough to be a top 10 contender for their list. And the reason why is that it is Tom King, as I told you, it is an homage to romance comics, but there's a twist to the story as well. And like I said, it's an anthology series, but it's not because all those stories are connected in some way. So I want you to think about those rom-coms movies that come out, like Valentine's Day or New Year's Day, where it tells different stories from different angles, from different characters, but it's all part of one connecting story.
Yep.
That's what this is. And
Wow.
it was just option. So therefore, being that it was just optioned, poof, instant top 10 list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. The last book on our list is it's a connecting cover. And if you look at it, it's a G.I. Joe book. And with this G.I. Joe book, this is G.I. Joe Jinx #1. It's not so much that it's G.I. Joe Jinx, it's because it's a connecting cover. And right now we're on letter I.
Yeah.
So take a wild guess which other letters are supposed to come with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I is going to be the hardest. There's a G somewhere. I don't know which one's G, but there is a G, and I believe the last part's going to either be the rest of the letters or it's going to just say the word Joe. I'm not 100% sure, but because of that, these books, people are going to start hunting these books down so they can have a whole collection of books. So it's kind of like Marvel Rivals in the way that people are just connecting because it's a Marvel Rivals thing. It's actually people want to connect the covers. That's what that's the whole thing with this book. So those are your 3 honorable mentions. Everlasting Love we might see next week. We might even see the Peach Momoka. I'm not sure so much about the G.I. Joe, but we might see the other letters pop into the list sooner or later as they come along. So let's go ahead into our next book, which is number 10. And it's the start of our list with Mark Spears Monster number 4. This is the 2025 C2E2 Comic Tom, limited to 200 copies variant. This book came out this week for King Spot, and last recorded sale is $210 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $215. There are no slabs. Came in number 4 for cover price. The sales volume of this book is 12 sales. The hype level is a medium. Before I even say anything to you or even ask for your opinion about this book, I'm going to let you in on something that happened over the weekend. Over the weekend, this book was being sold through Whatnot, and the prices were going to $500, even at one time $1,000, I think, for the Virgin variant of this book. I know nothing about the Spiral Man. All I know, it's a Mark Spears cover. All I know is I'm at this point where I'm just done with Mark Spears covers. Especially, it's not an homage in the traditional sense, but it's obviously homaging the pre-horror comics because of the background. Now, let me hear your thoughts.
I still like the Mark Spears covers for sure, and you can tell that there's still an appetite for them. Obviously, if those are the prices on Whatnot, when you put, I think there's still a tendency for, if you've got a limited print run and you've got Mark Spears, you've got people interested. That's why we usually see the ratios have a little bit more of an uptick than usual, and then the regular just DC covers that he's been doing, don't seem to be hitting as well. And part of that, we've talked about it briefly, is like if you take that Green Lantern cover as an example, I just didn't think it was as good as this cover is. This cover is much better than that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the part of it, like you said, the DC covers are not hitting in the same way. it's because of their universal monster appeal. That's the bottom line. I think he also has a little more freedom when it comes to the monsters because it's at his will. It's also usually an homage, right? I'm going to say 90% of the work he's been showing is an homage to something, where these other ones aren't really homages. The Spawn is not an homage. The DC books are not homages, with the exception of the Superman Flash, but that one didn't even really gain any traction
Yeah,
or
which
anything
I
like
really
that.
like that cover. I thought that one was
I like that cover too. I like the way it looks. I like its sensibility. I like how it kind of feels like a Saturday morning magazine feel to it, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
Um, so there you have it, guys. Mark Spears Monsters #4. Moving on to #9. And that's Amazing Spider-Man 238. This book came out in 1982 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale was $320 at a 9.2. Fair market value of this book is $218 at a very fine. $507 at a 9.6 is the average. On the trending list, it was #6 for CBSI. Sales volume, 48 sales have occurred this month in the last 30 days. And the hype level of this book is at a medium. This book is on this list for two reasons. Reason number one, Amazing Spider-Man #1, the relaunch book that just came out, features Hobgoblin. So there's some interest in Hobgoblin. Reason number two, there's also speculation that we are going to get Hobgoblin in the next Spider-Man movie in some capacity.
I love this cover. I have this book. It's in a little bit rough shape. It's the Canadian price variant, though. I'd love to get a better copy. There's a copy at a shop I go to that's on the wall that I always stare at. Um,
Mhm.
it would be cool. I mean, if you're reading Amazing Spider-Man right now and you're hoping for good things from Hobgoblin, I've got my fingers crossed along with you, I'd say. But to see him in a movie would be really cool if they did it right. Like,
Mhm.
kind of tell the story like this, like kind of keep his identity secret. That would be cool.
What we know about Ned Leeds is Spider-Man's best friend in the movie, and we know he leads into becoming one of the Hobgoblins. This is probably the perfect opportunity for them to actually have him become the Hobgoblin when he's expressed interest in becoming the Hobgoblin. The actor, can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's expressed interest to becoming the Hobgoblin. Now,
Yep.
how they're gonna make it work, I don't know. But if you're gonna do it, now's the time. I can't see Mr. Negative being the main villain. I'll be very honest. He's not a well-known villain.
Yeah. They did have the one line in the movie that Ned says to him about, "Don't worry, I won't become your arch nemesis," or whatever the line was. That
Yeah.
made me laugh, and it insinuated that, hey, we know that he's the Hobgoblin in the
Mhm.
comics. So
Yeah, exactly. So that's #9. Let's take a look at our next book, which is #8. All new Venom #5. This is the John Tyler Christopher 2025 C2E2 Venom Black Foil variant. This book came out in 2025 this week for Marvel Comics. $59 in near mint was the last recorded value, which is also the fair market value. There are no slabs since the book just came out. It's #6 in cover price, and it has a sales volume of 40 sales. And the hype level is high. This cover, again, what you see on the screen doesn't do justice, because this is definitely going back to what he did with Daredevil a few months ago with New York Comic Con. He did it again, but this time with utilizing the real Venom, by the way. And we'll see all new Venom #5 a couple of times on this list, unfortunately. But you look at this, you kind of have a sensibility of how it looks like. What's your thoughts?
I'd love to see this one in person. He was kind of showing off this cover on Instagram, and it's really hard to get an idea what it looks like unless you see it in person. It's one of those covers. So hopefully somebody will post a good video of it that really shows it off. But I love his art. So
Mhm. And you know what? For $60, it really isn't a bad price right now, even though I do think it's going to probably go up a little bit. Um, Give it time to rest, and then the price will drop down. Um, the Daredevil one is amazing, and he's utilizing the same kind of techniques that he did in the Daredevil for this one. And that's so now you're expecting a set to happen. He did Daredevil. He's just done Venom. The next question: who's going to be the next character?
Yeah.
You know, so be on the lookout for all new Venom #5, the John Tyler Christopher Venom Black Foil Venom. It is not the only John Tyler Christopher Venom #5 that we're gonna have on this list. So there's your heads up there. Little spoiler. #7. Back is Absolute Batman #1 for 2024. DC Comics. Last recorded sale was $25 near mint. The fair market value of this book is now $32. 9.8s are going for $95. It came in #3 in Key Collector, and it's still a hot selling book with 120 copies being sold in the last 30 days. That puts this hype level as a high because of that sales volume. But we've talked about Batman, Absolute Batman, for quite some time. What makes you think that this is back on this list? For what reasons would you say makes this return?
Yeah, I don't know. Like the excuse me, the 120 sales, that's really good. Maybe it's the start of the new arc and people are jumping on it and trying to go back and get those first issues. It
Mhm.
could be, you know, there's kind of more absolute stuff out there, so people that might have missed it, that have gotten the first issue of, say, Martian Manhunter and Flash and Wonder Woman, are like, hey, I'm just going to get that book. So
Yeah, and I think it's still attainable right now. It's not to the point that it's too far off that you can't grab a copy. There are over 400,000 copies of this book, and as you and I pointed out when we go over the slabs, a lot already been slabbed. So this book is getting picked up. $25 now is to me is high, being that there's more copies out there. You could probably get this for a good $15 now, I would
yeah,
say. So, don't go, my personal opinion, don't go spending more than 25 on this book, but you could probably find this book at a good $15. If you're trying to get a slab, however, you might want to be cautious about that too. So, because there's a lot of slabs of this book.
yeah,
Okay. #6, Batman The Dark Knight #3. This book came out in 2011 for DC Comics. The last recorded sales was $17 at a very fine. Fair market value is actually $6 at a fine, while the only real recorded sale of a slab that's out there is a 9.2 going for $50. I'm assuming there's more 9.8s out there, but this book is hot because it's on a trending list for Key Collector #9. For CBSI, it's #2. For Cover Price, it's #8. The sales volume, however, I'm going to say it's low with 44 sales from the 30-day period. So therefore, that hype level has to be medium for this book, even though people are getting ready. We talked about this book last week when we were talking about honorable mentions. I did mention that this book was going to somehow make a return. And here it is, this one. Let's talk
yeah.
about the White Rabbit.
Yeah, and I remember this character showing up in one of the Batman arcs that I read. I don't think I checked, and I don't have this one.
Mhm.
But like I said earlier, I did find this at Ollie's in the trade. Tried to get it from the comic shop, excuse me, and they didn't have any. But it's Finch art, like through the whole thing. It looks great.
Mm. Another book that people are starting to gravitate towards is the Art Germ cover. And I think it's a Batman and Robin book. I don't remember off the top of my head which book is it. Somebody could let me know in the chat or the comments. But there is an Art Germ cover which is stunning.
Yeah,
It's probably one of the best works he's ever done. And that one is going to be hunted down if it hasn't already started to be hunted down, just because of how stunning that cover is.
yeah, it's a good looking cover. I actually have that one. I can. It is Batman and Robin Volume 3, #1, cover
Okay,
H.
so it is issue 1.
Yeah,
I might have it as well. Now I'm thinking about it. I might actually have it because it's not that old. It's fairly new. Um, just in time for the holiday season. Who would have
yeah.
guessed it? When we're talking about White Rabbit and comic books, we're not talking about the Easter Bunny, guys. So Batman The Dark Knight #3 came in at #6. Let's see what came in #5. and that is the Sentry #1. This book came out in 2000, Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book was $300 and 9.8. Fair market value of this book is $100 near mint. For the Raws, $337 for a 9.8. So whoever got that sale for $300 actually got a pretty good sale. Trending list, it's a #4 for Key Collector, #5 for CBSI. It's not on cover price. However, it is in their top 20. The sales volume is 28 sales. Hype level of this book is high, and the reason why it's high is because of the Thunderbolts is less than a month away. In fact, it is about 2 to 3 weeks away.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that movie because, like I said, the Sentry, I don't really have a lot of knowledge. He was in one arc of a book I was reading, but other than that, like I really never got into his stuff. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what they do with the character and hearing whether it's accurate or not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the concept of the Sentry is it's really cool how they kind of brought him up. First of all, what Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee did was they started this little marketing campaign over at Marvel that the Sentry was a forgotten superhero. That's how the marketing campaign began, even to the point that they even got Stan Lee to be part of the gag, right? Which was all a hoax, really, to state that this character was created before the Fantastic Four. That's what they were trying to go off. But what it really was that forgotten superheroes, forgotten Silver Age superhero. And the reason why he's forgotten is because he's also a bit of a schizophrenic, and he has multiple personalities. The multiple personalities, however, you have one side that's the Sentry, which is the superhero, which is a la Superman. But then on the other side is you have the Void, and that's the villain. And we're going to see both versions of the Sentry, the Void and the Sentry, within the Thunderbolts movie. In the last trailer, they kind of revealed the Void, but they did a black silhouette,
Yeah.
so you didn't get to see what he looks like. I hope that's normal, to be honest with you, because I kind of like the idea of him being just this black silhouette. But with that being said, the Sentry is a character that is gaining momentum, gaining traction. People are getting ready for the Thunderbolts movie. I do believe we're going to see this book again next week.
Yeah, I think so too.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to #4, and that is Amazing Spider-Man 546. This book came out in 2008 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book was $15 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $32 near mint. $187 for a 9.8. That actually went up several dollars. Trending list, it's only on CBSI #7, but the sales volume is high at a 30-day sales of 191 copies of this book. Therefore, the hype level is high. This is one of the highest selling books this month. So, has a high hype level. So, brand new day. We talked about it last week. First appearance of Mr. Negative.
Yeah, brand new day. The name, whatever. I don't know, Izzy. This whole Amazing Spider-Man thing. I think Mr. Negative would be a cool on-screen villain. He could look really neat. So that part I do really like that this book is going up, and I own this book, so that's good too.
Mm-hmm.
But this storyline, I mean, it's down in infamy basically. So one more day, brand new day, all kind of the same. But I think if anything good came out of it, Mr. Negative is a cool character.
Yeah, Mr. Negative to me, and I'll say this again. I don't consider him top tier villain. I consider him a second tier villain. I agree. I think he'll look really cool on screen, but that's about it. I want to see the other guys. I want to see the other villains. I want to see Hobgoblin. I want to see the characters that I haven't seen before, but I want to see the top tier villains. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, we're at a point that we've seen a lot of them already, right? We've seen most of them, but I want to see the new Green Goblin. I don't want to see William Dafoe Green Goblin. I want to see this MCU version Green Goblin, right?
Yeah.
I want to see a new version of Sandman. I want to see I want to see some characters, but we're at that stage already that we've seen a lot of the Rhodes Gallery. right? It's a shame that Rhino showed up in the wrong movie, and the same thing with Craven.
Yeah.
But what I want to see is I really want to see them built to the real Sinister Six, which is something Sony always wanted to do in the first place. They just don't know how to do it right. Just read
Yeah,
a
I
comic.
mean,
That's how you figure it out.
you can't have these secondary Spider-Man characters be in a movie with no Spider-Man. You have to at least have a little bit. You could do like a really good origin, like Craven origin story, and somehow tie it in and build each movie as like like they did with the Netflix shows and then had the Defenders show.
Mhm.
Do a similar type of thing as that, but you got to have, if you're going to have you know Doc Ock, you've got to have Spider-Man. It's the same, like you're going to have Madam Web, you got to have Spider-Man.
Yeah, that didn't go anywhere. Well, you had
No.
Spider-Man as a baby, if I remember. So with Madam Web.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Amazing Spider-Man 546. That was number 4. At number 3, we're back to Venom. All new Venom number 5, the one per store Clinton Crane suspect surprise variant. This book came out in 2025 from Marvel Comics. Last recorded sale of this book is $50 near mint. Fair market value of this book is at $54 near mint. There's still no recorded slabs. And the trending list is only number 8 on CBSI. Checked out the sales volume, 30-day sales, 240 copies have sold. That puts this on a hype level of high. For people that don't like this storyline or this concept, there's a lot of books being sold. What's going on here?
Well, people love Mary Jane,
They
so
love Venom. They just don't like Mary Jane being Venom.
yeah. Not at least permanently. I thought it was cool at different points. I think like everybody did, just like in the Venom movie when when Venom takes over Anne, I thought it was great because it's just a cool idea. But you know, Mary Jane's just not being written very well right now. That's what it all comes down to,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But
Yeah,
I did see a copy of this in a local shop near me for $50 Canadian. So
yeah, yeah. I had a copy, as you know. I easily sold it.
yep.
My whole purpose for getting it was to flip it because I already knew the hype. I had no desire for it, to be honest with you, and it paid off for my books for the week. So that's what I did with it. Um, it's not a great cover, to be honest, either. It's like Clayton Crane has done some amazing covers. This isn't one of them.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So I like to say this is the last time we see this book, but it probably won't be. And it's not the last time we see this title because it's the very next book on Venom number 5. This is the John Tyler Christopher C2E2 Mary Jane negative space variant. This book came out this week. Last recorded sale is $189 near mint. Fair market value of this book is $136. No recorded slabs. Number 1 in cover price. 30-day sales volume is 124 titles sold this week. That was over the weekend, guys.
Yeah.
Hype level is a high. Okay, because we've been talking a lot about this all new Venom crap, right? This is a gorgeous cover. That's it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And if you were going to have a cover with Mary Jane being Venom on it, like this is much better than the last one.
I don't know how much of a negative space cover would you call
Well,
this.
the sunglasses are.
The sunglasses and the edge of the spider's legs.
Yeah.
But $189? Seriously?
Yeah. I'll be patient on this one. It'll come up and be for sale. Because I'm gonna guess that there must be at least 1,000 copies of this, if not 3, if it's a Marvel book.
Usually it's about 5. They'll tell you. This one didn't really say how many copies they were. They usually tell you what's the limited, but that's the thing with these cons. So C2E2, San Diego, New York Comic Con, MegaCon, when they drop these variants, these are usually retailer variants. when they drop these variants, they usually have a low print run to them. Like you said, 1,000 is probably the highest you're going to get. And they're being sold for 40, 30, depending on the style. Like if it's a foil, it'll be like 40. If it's like a standard variant, it'll be like 30. Sometimes you could get lucky and get them for like $20, right? So they never sell for $5.99 or something like that.
Yeah.
They sell for 20, 30, 40, 50 in some cases. So with that being said, if this book was selling for $30, which is my assumption, that's one hell of a return on investment for the seller.
Yeah, for sure.
Because we're talking about, let's just call it what it is, $190, $10 shy for $200 on a book that, quite frankly, people hate.
And this will be on the list next week.
Cover. So, wow, and I have to admit, it's a great cover, but I'm like the guys in the chat in the pass, because all it is Mary Jane in a bikini. It's I wouldn't call it iconic.
Yeah,
because it's standard. That's it. It's gonna be hot for a couple of weeks, and then it's gonna cool down. Now, will it be like $100, $90? Who knows? A lot of times it does happen sometimes. But that's your number 2 book. The number 1 book, however, is a book that I think will hold to value for a little while. And that is Hellverine number 5, the Alessandro Cappuccino spoiler variant. This book came out last week in 2025 for Marvel Comics. Near mint, $10 for last recorded sales. The fair market value of this book is $13. There are already slabs being sold for this book. $54 is the average. It is number 8 on Key Collector, number 1 in CBSI, and number 2 in cover price. The sales volume over 30 days is 116 copies. Hype level is high. This was in the list last week. It returned, but this time it came back hotter than before.
Yeah, it's too bad that the hype for this book, like, it's really about the cover, let's be honest, because the tease is really just this small panel at the back of a picture of an iPad with Hellverine or Hell Hulk on the cover. But it's too bad, really, because the rest of the book, it's probably the best issue of Hellverine that has been out yet. It's really, really good, a really cool story, and I really like the art. And I haven't really been a fan of the rest. They've been okay, but this one I actually really enjoyed. It's got me back on the book.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the next couple of issues, right?
Yeah.
So the next issues, we're gonna get some more Hell Hulk covers, but you're gonna get that eventual meeting between Hellverine and Hell Hulk, and that's what everybody's looking forward to. That's pretty much what everybody's looking forward to, and it better deliver. Let's be honest. So there you have it, guys. That is the number 1 book for this week. What's your thoughts? Tell me what you think about the ranking systems. Which books do you have? I want to know in the comments. Share them in the comments. Let me know which books you have. Tell me which books you want to have. Tell me if you're willing to spend $190 for a bikini pinup. And let me know what you think about the show. Until next week's rankings. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more comic content. Check out these other videos for even more insight, and I'll see you at the next one. Excelsior.